Tonight on What's Neat, we have our friend Mike Budde going over Eric Brooman's layout. We have Walker and Mitch joining us with their models. Check it out next.
That's good.
Good.
The What's Neat This Week video podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you. Additional support is provided by Athearn Trains. Check out all their new monthly announcements at athearn.com. And by Bachmann Trains. Now that's the way to run a railroad. Check out their website at bachmanntrains.com. ScaleTrains.com. Innovative Scale Trains. Check out their website at scaletrains.com. And thank you very much for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast. This is the What's Neat This Week podcast, number 47 for August 25th, 2018. I'm your host, Ken Patterson, the host of the What's Neat show at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine. And tonight we've got a really good show and a lot of guests, a lot of people on the stage here tonight.
We sure do.
Great models to look at this evening. I don't even know where to start. I know I've got Daniel Coombs sitting next to me right here to start with. I've got Michael Budde, who's going to talk about all kinds of neat stuff today, Mike. Also, I've got with me Walker Embry. You'll remember Walker is a gentleman that brought us that beautiful N-scale layout, and he's here to talk about some more models that we shot outside tonight. I've also got Chris Palomarez with me tonight. I love you, Chris. Thank you for being with us this evening. And I've got Mitchell Bevfoden over here, who's also going to talk about some neat little freight cars he's got on the table. We've also got Austin Allard working camera number one. Thank you, Austin. And I've got David Bevfoden.
All right.
That must be Mitchell's father.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Thank you, Mitchell's father. Running camera number two. Thank you so much. And tonight we've got a lot to talk about. We're still going to touch a little bit on last week's show because I haven't run out of things to talk about for that yet. But Chris, why don't you start out, because tonight you brought some gorgeous engines, and I want to remind everybody that Athearn is a sponsor for the What's Neat This Week podcast.
Well, thank you for that, Ken. I just want to also mention that these are the brand new SD50s that are due in. Coming up, you know what, I got to check out it on our website, but they're coming in very soon, probably in the next 3 months. First time with sound, being offered with RTR sound. Well, actually, it's economy sound. And also, it has new tooling on the truck side frames, windshield wipers pre-installed. So there's a lot of nice upgrades on this. And it's still SRP sub $200 with sound locomotives. So.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of different paint schemes on these too. I mean, the two back here are both CSX locomotives. The chassis system is a patch, and the gray ghost behind it. Chicago Northwestern with the emblem on the nose, and then the Union Pacific, which are ex-Mopac. So yeah, those are coming in real soon, and a lot more new stuff. Oh, by the way, we just announced a new group of I'd say products for September. So have a look at athearn.com and give it a look and see if there's anything that meets your fancy.
Will we get these engines in Mopac?
Well, those were the yellow birds. So
they weren't. There was never any blue of those.
No,
right?
unfortunately.
Okay.
Canary yellow ones.
I know, I wanted to say the word canary so bad. I love those units. Those are beautiful, and they were so long. And I remember the first set in Dupo, and I bet I got pictures of these. If not, just what a beautiful place to shoot trains in Dupo because the sun sets just on the side of the locomotives. Great images all the time over there. I don't know where to go next. I know I got a lot of notes here, guys, but this is going to be one of those shows that's not really rehearsed. We literally figured it out a few minutes before the show. You guys saw it 5 minutes before the show. We knew who was sitting here.
Yeah,
Yep.
There's a lot of potential. We just need to figure out which direction to go. Are we going to start right or are we going to start left? So.
Yep.
Daniel, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Ken, let's say about Bachmann, who's another one of our sponsors, and we got a product here on the right side of the table, left side on the frame, but with a Bachmann, I believe, is that a Spectrum locomotive? No, it's just a standard locomotive with Tsunami 2.
That's that steam engine that I made all the soundtracks videos with. I think they've rehabbed this engine now, and it's currently running on a real railroad somewhere.
And so what's going to happen now is I'm going to activate it because this is a process locomotive tester, so you can run your train.
Oh, how cool.
I mean, and you...
So this is a wheel cleaner. This
Yeah,
is
essentially.
a locomotive tester.
And it also the point where you can oil all the running parts, all the rods and then the wheels, get that oil or grease them up, and then you take it off when you're done with it.
Cool,
So-
man. That's a neat thing. And I'm not going to build a wooden base for it because it doesn't need it. It's got good rubber feet on it. It hooks up to your DCC system or your DC power pack on the end. And it's just another tool in your arsenal of tools for locomotive maintenance. This is that ball bearing locomotive tester and wheel cleaner from Bachmann. Thank you very much, Bachmann. We've also got the Bachmann log cars on the table. I didn't shoot any photos of these. I might have some stock photos that I shot of these a few years back when they first came out. I believe this is a re-release of the ON30 Bachmann log cars. And Lee Riley, in fact, cut some branches out of his yard, and they made castings in China. So the wood is castings made of urethane poured, however they make rubber molds and poured.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lee Riley's weeds from in his yard. Thank you very much. That's just a little background on what you don't know. Is there any more Bachmann? We've got this beautiful Bachmann. Where is it? It's over there behind you guys. There's that 460 locomotive that we talked about last week that was owned by the Disney animator.
Walker, I'm sorry. Dang it.
Yes.
I-
What were you going to say?
Ward Kimball. Sorry.
Ward Kimball.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
almost
okay.
hit the edit button, and I don't have to. Ward Kimball, that wonderful Disney animator, built the beautiful train station and had this locomotive on his property. We finally got to shoot this thing outside. The rain has stopped here in St. Louis where we can make the Garden Railroad run. So tonight, I had help out there from Austin Allard. We were cutting down some pine trees earlier in the evening and trying to make some space to fly around the Garden Railroad with this 12-foot long jib crane that I've been dying to use for the last 2 years. This is going to give us very smooth visuals for the auto racks when we videotape those Trains USA auto racks, as you can see right now in the video running. It's just wonderful, the movement you get off of this piece of equipment, and thank you, Austin, very much for helping me set that up. But this beautiful 260 locomotive in large scale also has lights in the passenger cars. So all the cars are lit up out there running around. It just looks really beautiful. So finally we got to watch this gorgeous Bachmann model run on the layout outside.
Wow. It's amazing.
That's
I
awesome.
know. And you know what? While we're wrapping up the sponsors, let's just do scaletrains.com, and then we'll have 20 minutes to talk about model railroading and everything else. We're going to pay the bills right now. And Scale Trains, Mike Budde, you weathered this Penn Central car that I sent you home with last week.
Yes. I'm not totally finished with it. I'm not really 100% happy with it. I think it needs a little more work, but I was trying to simulate the wavy panel rust look, and I still got a little bit of work left to do on it, but we're going to auction this car off for Lionel's Princess Margaret walk. I think Ken's going to put it on eBay next Wednesday or this coming Wednesday, whatever, and then we'll see how much money we can get for Lionel's charity. That was Ken's idea. That was a really good idea.
That's
Ken.
a great idea.
I'll
Yeah.
put the
Hats
words.
off to Lionel.
I'll put
Yeah.
the words "What's neat" in the eBay description, so you should be able to index it. This
Yeah.
again is.
How about, hey Ken, how about you just copy and paste the auction link right onto the YouTube
I don't know how
video?
To do, I don't know.
You know how to do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll figure that out.
But Lionel has been walking this whole week.
He has.
He left last Saturday, and he finally made it home today. Averaging
Wow.
probably around 9 or 10 miles a day, 60 miles, and, unbelievable. But another Scale Trains thing we got here are these carbon black cars that we were talking about last week. I had gotten some of those when they first came out and weathered a few of them. The one is, the build date on it is 12/79, which is right at my cutoff of 1980. So I left that car pretty new looking. The other two cars are cars that I see in St. Louis coming through. And one thing that always sparked my curiosity was Sid Richardson. I wondered who this guy was that I kept seeing his name on the side of the train cars. Well, people from Texas will know who he was, but I had to do a little research, and he was a businessman and philanthropist from the Fort Worth area, and he had made his fortune before the Depression, lost his fortune, and rebuilt it through oil and gasoline and carbon black industries. And he's done quite a lot civically for those municipalities around Dallas and Fort Worth. And Has an art museum, and it's really, real interesting story if you ever want to
Wow.
check into it. So
That's amazing. Mike.
anytime you see Sid Richardson now, you'll know why. So
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Now, I also shot these Conrail cars that go with the Penn Central car. I did shoot all of these in outdoor light. I might get the number wrong. I think these are 4750 cubic foot covered hoppers from ScaleTrains.com, and they are in the Rivet Counter series. These are the really detailed, beautiful cars with all the piping and stuff on the end that I showed you last week. We didn't really talk about these cars last week because we talked about the carbon cars, so I wanted to be able to cover that this evening. We've also got their new SD40-2 in the swoosh series paint scheme here on the table, and this again is this is not the Rivet Counter. I think this is the Operator series.
It's like the entry level without a lot of the details, so it's like what you always say, be a modeler. You can put on like grab irons, other
The details
handrails
still
and
come with it, though?
accessories.
You can, like, put on
Well, there's
grab
a
iron?
separate kit that they sell.
Oh.
Then you can add on to it.
Ian over there at ScaleTrains.com, Ian wanted me to stress the fact that this is not a cheap locomotive, that this is in fact a very clean, crisp shell with a lot of detail, and it comes with the full Loc sound decoder system in it. So you're getting a lot of value for $149. I remember he said that to me exactly. And so that covers our sponsors. The bills are paid. So now we can talk about nothing but trains and have fun the rest of the night.
well, I want to know about those yellow locomotives up in front there. I
Well-
like those little ones.
It kind of happened by accident. I lived in Santa Maria. My parents still live in Santa Maria. And shout out to my dad. He just sent me this shirt. And it has Santa Maria, California on it, too. And the Santa Maria Valley Railroad is a local railroad. And these things just kind of turned up on eBay. And the price was right for two of them, so I just struck. I slept on it one night. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting those. So, hey, Dad, thank you for the shirt, and check out the Santa Maria Valley locomotives. I think you might like them. So, and also thank you for watching.
You said those are 70-tonner GE.
Yeah, GE
locomotives?
70 tonners. They had a number of them. I forgot the exact amount, but right now they have like a GP9 and maybe one or two of those 70 tonners left, and
Those are neat.
they're still in business, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like those a lot.
It's like model what you know.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you know they're from
Yeah.
one of the What's Neat podcast sponsors. Those are Bachmann.
These are
Spectrum.
beautiful little Bachmann
Boy,
engines.
they
Are those
sure
44 tonners?
No,
Is that-
70.
70 tonners. You
Are they
said
weathered?
that.
I can't tell. 'Cause
Yeah,
of the
there's a
light.
little bit of weathering on it.
I
The
can
guy
see a
custom
little bit.
painted them. Unfortunately, Bachmann didn't do the Santa Maria Valley Railroad, so someone custom painted those. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was a project I wanted to do, but now I don't have to, so I'm really pleased about that.
Don't have to do any work.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Time saving.
Now, tonight we were outside shooting some photographs under a full moon. I found Walker Embry out there shooting these N-scale models that he showed us on his layout photo tour that he gave us about 4 podcasts ago when we first met Walker Embry. But Walker, tell us about your outdoor photo shoot tonight. How did that go?
So it was me, Mitch, and it was Austin and Daniel, and we were out there. We weren't really trying. We were just kind of screwing around. But,
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. We tried to get the DCC hooked up so we could turn on the nose lights, but that didn't really work. So I shot a couple photos with my phone, but that was about the extent of it. And we came back in here.
It was getting kind of dark out there.
Yeah.
The picture Austin Allard got was pretty good. Now, Joshua's not with us this evening. Him and Raina are out on a wonderful vacation. But
Miss you already, Josh.
I can tell
Yeah.
you that Joshua and Raina both will open up I think it's the September What's Neat video that runs at Model Road Hobbyist Magazine. Am I right on that?
Should be.
Yeah, September 2018 What's Neat. That's the one where we're going to cover the prototype modelers meet, which I will talk about in a little while. But here's Joshua and Raina doing the opening. You can see both of them smiling and sitting in there on the outside deck, which was a beautiful night, just like the night that we had this evening when we were out there shooting Walker's freight cars outside. Joshua has also been contemplating the idea of us coming out with a T-shirt or some sort of apparel with a logo on it for the What's Neat show. Open up the floor out there for anybody who's interested in designing a logo. If you've got a great idea, come up with it. Here's one that Joshua has come up with, which is kind of neat. He just drew this up on his own the other day, and it's kind of neat looking. But we're planning on something like that, some way to promote the podcast and have some sort of apparel like we've seen. I remember the picture you gave me, Chris Palomarez, of the gentleman Ken, I think it was Ken, in the MRH shirt at a train show. What's his name?
Yeah.
He contacted me on Facebook and said, "That's me. That's who I am."
Awesome.
I know. So there's the marketing. There's some more marketing for that there.
Well, hey, Ken, let me interrupt you for a second.
Okay.
We have the 50th episode coming up, I believe September 22nd. And I want to put a shout out to everybody viewing right now. What are your thoughts and what would be some suggestions for us to do to commemorate the 50th episode? So that's kind of a milestone for us. So,
So leave down in the comments below.
Yeah, exactly. Leave your comments below, any ideas, and then we will do another episode and then kind of go do I'd say a Survey Monkey or something where you can vote for your favorite idea. So
Okay.
good idea.
You're tapping my foot.
I know. I'm sitting here nervously thinking, number 50 is just going to be another Sunday night edit for me. It's going to be great that you guys are all happy. Number 50 is some big deal, but
I'm afraid it might. I'm thinking it might be about an hour or so long.
Oh,
But let's not hope so.
No, it's not going to be an hour.
Did you say that you were editing this one for me,
No.
brother? Is that
No.
hour? I know. We love the show. We do it for you. We do it for all of us. It's the greatest hobby in the world. And what a great group of conspirators that I have to work with in this industry. I mean, all the folks we met at the NMRA National Show, a bunch of great people in that room, a lot of leaders, industry leaders, people that we all respect that all give us what it is we love. And that's some of the best models we've ever gotten. I mean, look how computer technology, just in the last 15 to 20 years, we've gone from Athearn blue box to brass, plastic, and beyond. I mean, I don't know. It's unarguable that this is the best time ever to be in this hobby.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, the struggle to
I
fun
agree.
ratio is getting smaller and smaller. I mean, you can really just, if you just want to enjoy the hobby, go at it with some Unitrack and just pull some good RTR stuff out of the box
Right.
and do a DCC system that are getting a lot easier to use. So the writing's on the wall. It's just looking like more fun to be had.
So, Mike, you want to talk about maybe this Eric Brooman
Yeah.
visit?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You and Joshua went to Eric Brooman's house?
Yeah, Monday night before Joshua left on his vacation to the West Coast,
Oh,
we went over to Eric Brooman's house. He
jealous.
lives in suburban St. Louis.
Wow.
And he's has the Utah Belt Railroad. I'm sure many of you people are familiar with it, but
There's a lot of modern locomotives in
It's
this clip that's
yeah,
running right now.
that's one thing he's done. Like some other well-known model railroaders, they've kept up their roster with the current.
Those are aces.
times.
Aren't those aces, Chris, that we're looking at?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those
yeah,
are
there's
aces.
a number of aces in
Utah
there.
Belt aces.
And all
Isn't
his
that cool?
stuff is lettered.
Coming out of this tunnel here, that's a beautiful shot, the train running through the tunnel. Is that a coal train he's pulling?
Yes. And so
Wow.
Anyway, his layout is built entirely for operation, and I had never been to an operational layout or session like that before. So
Here's a shot of you and Dennis Norris.
yeah, he teamed me up
Here's
with
Michael
Dennis.
Budde, and you guys are actually operating a freight
Mhm.
train in the yard. I mean, what a beautiful scenic layout
Wow.
to be
Oh,
working
yeah.
on. His wall of covers. I noticed you shot some videotape of the wall of covers that
Yes.
Eric has got.
Right.
That's quite a collection of model railroad craftsmen and model railroaders. That's really neat to see that.
Mhm.
I saw the pig train that ran by in these video clips. The
Yeah,
one thing that
he's-
really comes out on his layout is his effective use of scenery colors.
Yeah.
He
Yes.
does a lot of what Walker Embry did in those N scale shots that we ran a few weeks back, where you can see these tufts and all these different colors.
Well, he was
And
an art teacher, high school art teacher by
Man.
trade.
that would explain
and,
the rock colors. Look at the
right.
colors of these rocks.
His layout is set in New Mexico, and the blending of the relatively short distance into the backdrop is really pretty amazing. The way he convincingly models wide open spaces.
Yeah.
So
Vibrancy and
I've got a
variety.
great shot of you here,
Very.
Mike, standing in the middle of the aisles while you're talking about it.
Mhm.
And you can see the aisle space. You can see how high the layout is. It looks like it's about 48 to 50 inches high. Look at the desert colors, and it's a great
Yeah.
aisle space. It's a shelf layout design, isn't it?
it is, yeah. It goes around the outside of the room, and then he has an island in the middle that connects, but it goes through the wall somehow. And he also has a hidden staging yard, so he runs everything on time clock, or regular real time. But
Yeah.
every once in a while, we had to clear the main line for like a stack train coming through or a coal train, and he runs it like a real railroad. He starts out with a switch list. He writes these switch lists every night, and they're really like a puzzle. You have to get certain cars in and out, and the sidings aren't long enough to to do it with a whole string, so you got to spot cars on the main line, and it was very interesting. I'd never done that before. So.
The game of supply and demand.
Yep.
What a beautiful layout. Thank you very much for sharing
Yes.
Eric Brooman's work with
Wow.
us. Eric, it would be absolutely an honor to any of us modelers if you would join us on the show sometime. We'd love to have you down here, brother.
I tried.
Coffee's always hot there, Eric.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for sharing this, Mike. This is some great stuff. Now that you left there, has that had an influence on what it is you've got in your basement? Or has it made you want to change something?
No, it made me more sure that I just like my racetrack. I like building models and watching them go in a circle. Because I'm much more of a model builder than a model railroad operator. I like to build models more than anything else, and then just have a place to run them around.
So let me ask you, because I personally have been to so many operating layouts that I kind of got used to it. But how was it your first time at an operational layout?
It was overwhelming, actually. And he's very nice. I knew some of the guys that were already there, but it was really hard for me to. I didn't really know how to work the throttle. I was working the throttle. I should have let Dennis do that, and I could have worked the switches and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting, and the time flew by. We were there 2.5 hours, and it only seemed like a half hour.
Wow.
But
Yep.
one thing, I was starting out trying to run the trains real slowly and realistically, and boy, that clock kept ticking, and Eric kept yelling out how much time we had left, and in the end, I was just slamming the thing back and forth. You know?
Or just be like, Ken, you pick up the cars and you place them in the tracks. and
Yeah, we cheated a couple times.
It's all right. It's all right.
It's my attention span. Hey, Mitchell, not to leave you out,
Yep.
but you brought some beautiful little freight cars that look completely scratch built. Tell me about these white passenger. What are these? What is
So what this is it's a concept for an avalanche control train on the railroad. Right now they use truck-mounted howitzers up in Alaska to help with avalanche control, rather have a controlled avalanche, a half a mountain of snow instead of a full mountain of snow. Started out with the main car here. It's a Ambroid kit from 1967.
Nice.
One of 5,000 series. You guys were talking about old blue boxes.
Mhm.
Well, old.
Yeah, that's a real craftsman kit
Yes.
there, made out of wood and
Yep.
everything.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. It's got the windows in it. It's got people and seats. Added air horns for warning shots. It's got a shortwave with a linear antenna going from the cupola back to the back of the car. Crane for loading ammo. And, of course, avalanche warning flags for the checkered is range 2 to 3 warning. With this, I also made a complimentary car. This was for a contest. And it's just old Mantua reading floodlight car. Plastic, little cheap.
Yeah, but with a little paint and detail, you
Little
can
paint
make
and
it
detail,
something
yeah.
really special.
That's cool.
Yes.
Also, that's part of this kit right now is I've got a custom built Snowcat, brass skids, tracks on the back, and the rear drive wheels are actually just brake wheels, HO scale brake wheels.
Yeah.
What year? What year are you modeling? What year is this?
This is supposed to be post World War II.
Okay.
Just some company that works in the mountains trying to get some surplus stuff to use. The cars would be no longer on the mainline service, so just stuff they could buy up and get working on the train.
That's absolutely awesome. We got about 5 more minutes to go before we get to go run some trains. Mitchell, tell me, is this the greatest hobby in the world?
Yes, it is. I've been in a long time. Family's been in a long time, and I love it.
That's
Great.
awesome. Now, Michelle Kempema, you are not off the hook, and yes, I got your name right this time because I've had all week to practice. But I want to just say that I did get the name of the museum incorrect. I said the Colorado Railroad Museum, which I knew quite well was the one that Robert Richardson formed many, many years ago in Colorado. Yours is the Colorado Model Railroad Museum in Greeley, Colorado. As I've explained, they've got a 5,500 square foot layout, and it's just beautiful.
Wow.
And Michelle is really in charge of public relations. She pretty much is the glue that holds that whole place together out there. And I'd like to, at some point, we're going to bring her in on the show on Skype, and we're also planning a visit out there to their complex to videotape and show all that they have to offer. They bring a lot of youth in the hobby through programs in their area. And I'm going to elaborate further when we have Michelle on the show, and I very much look forward to that. So, Michelle, thank you again for doing the opening for our October show that's coming up. And that's all I have to say about that. I also want to talk about September's show, which will be coming out in 4 more days at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine. You guys can feel free to help me with this because you guys have all seen Stephen Hertz vehicles.
Yeah, 125th scale.
Right. We interviewed Steve. Last year he was really shy. This year he was on his game. And next
Great.
year I can't wait to see what he comes up with next. We also talked to John O'Donnell. You'll remember John from Moondog. And he's that rail company that makes these beautiful freight car loads. But something that's not very well known about John is he used to be a very, very good brass painter. Painted a lot of models for Overland Models, a custom painter. And we've got some footage of his back shops in that interview. It comes out really good. I talked to Dan Darnell and Gareth Bearer from Rapido. Gareth is from my home country, England. We love you. And they are just great in the interview. What a bunch of fun guys to work with. They are in China right now, and as soon as they get back, we're going to talk about some more stuff on the What's Neat show with them and have them on the show. The Ohio Valley Sipping and Switching Society modular layout.
Whoa.
You'll remember that layout
Yep.
at the show, guys. That was really a neat layout. They
That's
did
our
it-
friend Jason Quinn was on that.
Oh,
and,
okay.
and
Yeah.
Cook.
We love Jason.
Yeah.
And so we feature that. Also, Mike, the 187 scale vehicle
Vehicle model.
modelers, Dan
Right.
Goins, we interviewed him for the show, and they brought a lot of cars this year, didn't they?
Yeah. Sam Dennehy brought his rat rod
I love Sam
custom
Dennehy.
shop. Yeah.
Give a shout out to Samuel Dennehy,
Yeah.
brother. He's the one that wore that black hat. What a character.
Yeah, him
Some
and his
cool
dad drove all the way
tattoos,
from
just
South
like yours
Carolina.
there.
Yeah.
And he models those chop rods, or what do you call
Rat
them?
rods.
Rat rods.
Right.
Yeah.
What-
Rat Fink stuff.
What neat stuff. And the last thing I've got on the list is I've got Paul Ellis from ScaleTrains.com. We do an interview with Paul. He tells us about the latest SD40-2s, especially that CSX one that I think looks really cool, that square bob, square pants, whatever cab. I know. It's really crazy how they did the SD40-3s. They're neat. And then Matt Gentry from Athearn Trains.
Yep.
I gave Chris the opportunity to do the interview for the show, and then Chris and I both looked at each other and said, you know what, we want Matt to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the reason for that is A, Matt's young, B, he's very knowledgeable, but when
He is.
I asked him about the passion for trains and the opportunities in the industry for any of you out there that feel like you might want to have a career in this industry, he really covers the gambit of that passionately because he's lived the road for the last 15 to 18 years. He's gone up the stepladder from companies to get to where he is now at Athearn. So Matt Gentry, thank you so much. It's
Right.
one of the best interviews in that
Thank you.
video. Now, on next week's show, we aren't going to do a show. It's going to be September 1st. But we're going to do a What's Neat This Week special edition. It'll be podcast 47.5. And in that, you will hear from all of the sponsors on the show. And again, they're not going to tell us about their product. They're going to explain to us why they're in the hobby, their passion. I mean, the interview from ScaleTrains.com, Shane Wilson, is just... It's so good that it needed to run in a show all by itself. We'll also have an interview from Athearn, and I've got a great interview from the CEO of Bachmann. So you'll be able to hear, their passion for trains and why they're in the industry. And here's another way for you to network with these folks, because there's always opportunities for anybody out there that loves this hobby. Get a job in this hobby. Do what you love every single day of the week. I know a lot of people in the industry that do. And it's happy days every day, because this is a happy show.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Happy, like
Happy,
Josh
happy,
would always
joy,
say.
joy.
And that's everything I got on my
Well,
list. So
I got
the rest of the
something
show
else right
belongs to
here.
You guys.
Okay.
Hey,
I'm
I
on.
got
All right,
something.
Chris has got one more thing.
All right.
Hey, first off, Daniel, you missed out on Kansas City because you
Yeah.
were in the desert, right?
Right.
Did you get a chance to go out into the desert at all, looking around for anything cool?
Oh yeah, we got to.
Railroad-wise.
We did like a drive around. It was called the Red Rock Canyon, to where we really got to see the scenery. I didn't see any rattlesnakes, so
Okay.
it was unfortunate. But it was like last podcast I pointed out to say, think of like railroad, old Southern Pacific.
Yeah.
Maybe throw in a mixed freight or a Pacific Fruit Express train and whatnot. But Chris, you were talking to me about something about some railroad agriculture. Or
Well, this is what's going
architect.
on.
Is what I mean.
These guys here, these two psychos, they're my friends Eric and Chris Lemuth, and big shout out to them because they really expose some B-side railroad type stuff, and I know you're a millennial, so you don't understand a tape.
No.
There's an A side and a B side, but
I've seen
the
them, but I haven't
B sides
watched one.
usually had the best stuff. And the desert out there, they did this Vegas to Reno sort of marathon dirt bike race. And during this dirt bike race, there was some of the coolest Old West looking railroad stuff ever. and there's still a little bit out there. A lot of it got torn up like in the 90s and stuff. But I'm going to try to run some photos of just stuff that we found on the web so you can kind of see what we're looking at here. But hey, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't know about a lot of these things. And the desert is some really cool railroad activity. I just came back from vacation up in Colorado with them. There was Crested Butte, and it was a mining town, and there was a narrow gauge that went through there too. So, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't know a lot of this branch line railroad stuff. So it's the B-side. You got to check out some of the B-side stuff, because that can lead up to really cool structures to build, just cool right-of-ways, bridges, all kinds of stuff. So and that's pretty much all I got to say about that. So, hey, guys, if you're watching,
we love you, Chris. Mitchell, anything else you want to say, Walker Embry?
Nope, I'm good.
Michael?
No, I think we're good.
Keep an eye on this for this auction. When I get this thing started, we'll figure it out. Maybe I'll put some notes on YouTube and on my Facebook page, Ken Patterson. Be sure to subscribe to the Ken Patterson YouTube channel and tell a friend about this show, too, so we can get the numbers up. I'm not closing it yet because I got this really cool koala bear.
Yeah, what is with
I
this?
wanted to show off this koala bear. That's why I've got my my little this lanyard on right here. This was given to me by the folks in Australia. We have over 400 viewers in last week's show from Australia. Thank you so much. This is really cool, guys. This is like so cool. I love this. I love it. It's a koala bear. He's from Australia. I love it. So at that, is it almost time to run some train?
Yes.
I like that. I like
Yes.
that response.
Yeah, I think it's about time. I didn't get to run trains over in Kansas City, so I'm going to run them here.
All right, Chris Palomarez, close it out for me, brother.
All right, everybody, thank you for watching tonight. Be sure to like or dislike. Leave your comments down below, and be sure to also hit subscribe, and then there's a little bell notification icon.
Ding.
That'll let you know whenever we kind of like get a wild hair and go live every now and again. But it'll also kind of keep you up to date whenever the latest podcast comes out. So thanks, everybody, for watching. Thank you. Let's go run some trains.
All right, let's go run them.
Trains sound good.
I love
right.
you guys.
That sounds really good, man.
Yes, it does.
That's good. No, it sounds